Yeah, that's different, that's a different.
Yeah. Okay, communications. I ran into the same problem. But we're in we're moving forward, March 18th at 6 o'clock, we'll have it on the website. Yes, it's a information. And we're working with the 3 PTOs who will also be part of that process. So, that'll be at the high school auditorium. Again, more to come on that. Ad hoc school day programs, Mr. Perry.
Yes, I actually met. We had Ms. Collins, Ms. Curry from the PPO, and Ms. Carpora in the one day there. Right now, we have 3 kids using the program. The kind of discussion kind of went to, we feel that it's kind of a slow start based upon the fact it didn't start off right at the beginning of last year. And also that we have families with kids, I guess kids who are and then also supporting right now for kids included. So that's kind of what's on there as well. The judge mentioned about families that have expressed strong interest in going forward with the program. There seemed to be at least some issues came up with the YMCA's requirements for membership to participate in the YMCA program. Y has dropped that requirement, so it's just the straight C ability program. And so we discussed possibilities of to help support the program and to grow is to expand it from up to the 3rd grade to include the 4th and 5th graders as well. We also discussed the possibility of adding the 4th-school component to the program, and if that might help to also provide more support and grow the program. We left the meeting with Ms. Collins and Stewart and Ms. Carpola. Going to send down and contact families who have contacted them basically for an interest, see where that lies, which things they recommend that would help them would interest people in joining the program, taking using the benefit of having that in our school. And then we're going to meet hopefully this March, before our next meeting, so it's a little more concrete with the board. We got all the information.
So why don't you send this to the court?
Yes. Yeah, the YMCA has been great. They're all on board. Want us to grow and be successful with their other programs.
You're all set with the capacity in there.
Now, everything seems to be falling along.
Okay, any other questions? Ad hoc curriculum, Mr. Perry.
Appreciation of East Haddam Education Association, and work with Dr. Kelly and Mr. Perry in working on an agreement to use during the school day, non-classroom teachers to work on things such as curriculum. I think that's very, very helpful. It doesn't mean curriculum work like we've done at other times, but we now have that opportunity available to us. Very quickly at the meeting, what we agreed to is that we want in 13 months to have a K-12 math, English language arts curriculum ready to be presented to the Board of Education, one that is vertically and horizontally articulated. That doesn't mean other areas will not be having curriculum work done, but we want those packages at a minimum ready for this board by April of 2015. We also want for the 2015-2016 budget a line item presented on what it will cost to implement that curriculum, relevant to textbooks and teaching materials. What I would like to see us establish within the budget a specific line item called curriculum implementation. So we put it right up front to the community. This is what it's going to take these subjects and get them in place for the next school year. And then we're going to, over the course of the next couple of meetings, get an organized pattern of how we're going to tackle the rest of the curricula so we can get them all addressed, brought up to date, consistent with one another, in the best interest of the youngsters. And we will be, during our upcoming meetings, we're going to be working on that project, laying out that timetable, and plus getting an update on progress to date. The question was raised, there are places that do like late arrival Wednesday. The West Hartford does it, for instance, where all the schools come late, and the teachers put aside 2.5 hours to do this kind of professional work, curriculum work, and that kind of thing. They're not the only ones who do it, but that's part of what was being talked about before, to see is that an idea that works for East Haddam, and if so, in what way does it work? The next meeting will be on the 25th of March at 6 o'clock. We're moving it back slightly to make sure that all board members can be present. And it'll either be, depending on the audience, the last time we moved to the Hale Ray Library upstairs, because we had a large audience, and we'll just accommodate that. But hopefully, as you can see, we had a lot of questions, and hopefully it will give you some guidance as to where we're going. Thank you.
I would love to thank you for facilitating a conversation that talked about using planning time for curriculum work. Mr. Tulloch said that he was very receptive to that and would support that idea, but he needed to talk to his teachers and his executive board, and we are currently going to schedule a follow-up meeting to talk about curriculum council and a plan to use some of the time, but I wouldn't want it out there that that was a done deal and that we were moving forward. The details have yet to be worked out around that. So that's in progress, and again, Mr. Top said that he could certainly support that and would come back to the table and continue that conversation.
Any other questions? Learn liaison, Mr. Barton.
They're going to meet while I'm teaching. I mean, until the summer comes, frankly, you and on, I can start to do it, because I'll be off that, and then, because this is a one-year assignment, I won't be able to take care of it going out after this, because I don't want a one-year teaching assignment. So,
All right, cool.
this evening, yes.
So do you remember what meeting on Thursday? At the... All right, I'll...
All right, get it to me.
Any questions? We will be doing so. Let me know. All right, local prevention council, Mr. Kemp.
I wasn't able to attend, but I did follow up with Tony McCabe. One of the main things that we talked about, or that was talked about, was organizing a town forum and how to address ways of keeping the kids safe with kind of milestone celebrations coming up, including prom and graduation. So more info to come on that, but I'll keep you updated.
Any questions?
Just I'll see the front page article in the Current about heroin use in this state and the number of deaths. Times the last 2 weeks have run articles in bucolic Vermont, in Rutland, and in Bennington. The heroin epidemic is beyond the ability of the local and state police to address. try to reinforce what they're trying to do. The dangers that are out there. I mean, when you talk about, it isn't Hartford or Bridgeport where these things are going on. They're going on in Simsbury. They're going on in the affluent communities also. I mean, when you look at the number of deaths, and you're aware of this, the number of people in the state of Connecticut who have died so far as a result of heroin overdoses is epidemic. And I think any efforts that we can do to support local prevention, positive youth activities, when you read those things, I don't know about you, boy, that scares me. That it's that easy to get, that it's that prevalent. It is really, really an activity we need to support in some way. Sorry, but just repeat that.
Open space met at the same time as our special February 24th meeting. Couldn't be there, but they will be meeting again on this Monday, the 24th, as of right now.
So I need a motion to approve and accept the resignation of Sue Bishop, teacher at the East Haddam.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Second, a motion to add the motion to approve the teacher evaluation plan for the 2013-14.
Before I make the motion, is that what you need? Okay, I don't need to put it differently before. So no, move to add to the agenda.
Second. Any discussion? We're going to move a evaluator. We can't put it with the. We're going to do the same thing. All those in favor? Opposed? So now we need a motion to give the revisions to the teacher evaluation plan for the 2013-14 school year. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Yes, I'll tell you. I need a motion to add to the agenda the changes to the 2014-15 school year calendar.
my recollection was that we wanted the board to consider the concept before we went to ask the teachers about when they thought those days in the calendar should be shortened, so that we didn't conflict with exam weeks or things in the calendar. But before we go and ask the teachers to help determine what those days would be and change the calendar to reflect that, we need to know whether or not the board is going to support this conceptually. It would not seem to make sense to go and ask teachers to go into that work and identify days that they would shorten if in fact we don't intend
So
to.
what do we have?
A motion to review the calendar, that you brought back. Lots of motions, lots of
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Now we need a motion to review the calendar. John, it's your motion.
To review the calendar, with 30 days, investigate possible revisions to the
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, consent agenda. If there's an item on the consent agenda that board members wish to discuss, it would be necessary to hold the applicant to remove it from the consent agenda. Is there anything, any board members that can remove? Three A. Okay.
Well, as Sean said, we're going to have to be making new changes to the visitor policy, and I noticed some language in here regarding East Haddam political affiliate and but I haven't had the opportunity to review that, so rather than do that, I'll be happy to put it forward.
Yes.
So the decision manual is, first of all, we need to get the draft for equipment in to go through and test drive. The procedures that ultimately will come out of that will become part of our safety security plan. And it has been board policy, not policy, practice, that we do not make public our safety security plans. So the specific detailed confidential information that would roll out the procedures of implementation would not be something that we would typically put in hard copy and share. However, at the time that the equipment gets in and is installed, in terms of general implementation, Craig can share that with us. So that is the plan moving forward. The procedures, the details of that plan will be completed once the equipment comes. But in terms of distributing that, that's not the plan. Any more than public any more safety.
Looking forward to that.
So bring it back to.
So,
So this may be problematic in terms of going forward and implementing and installing the equipment without changing policy. I don't know if we can move forward with installation. Is that the case, Mr. Mansell?
We can still move forward. I mean, we do have a visitor policy in place. It's just, the policy says all visitors will need to check in. We're just changing the way they check in. So it was to call out using that visitor management program. And just to clarify, this will become an annex within the safety and security plan. So it will be visitor management within the overall plan. And those plans have never been released publicly, especially in writing or not, other than to the schools and the law enforcement.
See, I don't legal or I read, but for, you know, I don't see it. But if we have a policy that those are available, you know, that can be found, when they have to be found there. So probably the language of it can be found here, when they can't be found there, and that's probably more,
So we can address, it'll be part of an annex within the plan.
right, so I mean, that's, yeah.
Right.
And the other part is this, I know we have a visitor thing already, but that's for visitors to school. For board member visits, I think when board members go to school, if they're going as board members, they're really not visitors, they're more going in official capacity. So I would make a motion that, I know this was the original one that was adopted in 2002, but I would make a motion that that section goes.
We'll take it back to policy. We'll meet before the next board meeting, and then we can discuss it at policy.
Just make sure that the meeting is so that
So motion to remove 3A.
Well, that, you don't have to motion. Policy.
Why, and
Oh,
remove it.
yeah, okay, sorry. Oh, yeah,
Move
all
to
right.
remove 3A, consent agenda.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, now to approve consent agenda items 1, 2, A to C, 3, B, C, and 4.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're moving on to communication with audience and citizens. Okay, communication with audience and citizens is an opportunity for citizens and staff to briefly and respectfully express their thoughts, concerns, and questions to the board. No discussion occurs during this portion of the meeting. The board will respond to questions in a timely manner. Anybody wish to ask a question?
Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Melanie Debrick, and I'm here as a private citizen, not necessarily under my official title, which is your state representative. First of all, I just want to say how much I appreciate all the work that you folks do. It's been a long time since I've sat through an entire Board of Education meeting. That was my spot. But, you know, I do appreciate it, and I don't think the general public really knows the amount of hours and dedication it takes to be a member of the Board of Education. I'm also here to give my best wishes to your superintendent. I understand that it's a very difficult decision, and I think I just wanted to know how important I think your efforts have been. The main reason for me being here today, though, is based on your last special meeting on Thursday. I had the opportunity to listen to a tape recording of this meeting, and I was very concerned about some of the tenor that I've heard. You know, it's been a struggle, I think, for bringing the community in to get a positive dialogue again at the Board of Ed level, and I know you've been working very hard to do that. But I'm standing here as a private citizen who went through a very tumultuous time during my tenure on the Board of Ed. We had a lot of discussions. They weren't all very pleasant, and it's very difficult to keep that demeanor. But I have to tell you, my concern is that when you start talking about citizens who happen to be volunteers, elected officials, who are questioning their government, that's what the American democracy was founded on. And if someone is pulling an FOI request, I believe that that is certainly within their right to do so. And I would just like to state for the record that I support anybody who's willing to get information to help themselves better be informed about how their tax dollars are being spent. It's what I do every day as a member of the Appropriations Committee when I have to ask tough questions to our department officials, and I just wanted to be here to support those efforts for anyone, whether it's a public official or a private citizen. They legally require additional information through the FOI process. I think that that's something they should have the right to do, and they shouldn't be questioned or their moral character questioned because of that. Continue to work hard. I know it's not easy. I do appreciate what you're doing, but I felt that I had an obligation to come here and share my concern with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
First, about the half days in high school, I hope you take into consideration the kids who are taking AP classes, and when you do the half days, it affects their classroom time. And just because you make it up in one day, that's not going to help with their classroom time. And looking through the buses as well, because if you're dismissing the high school, what are you doing with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders? Because that would be another bus, and that's another expense. And then I would like to comment on the special meeting that was held March 5th as well. Mr. Bill Barney attacked the very people who elected him onto the board. He called members of the audience gutter garbage and slime. He then misquoted Tony Welch. I too enjoy history. At the Army McCarthy hearings on June 9, 1954, when McCarthy tried to renew the tax system, Welch interrupted him. Senator, may we not drop this? We know he belongs to the Lawyers Guild. Let us not assassinate this lad further, Senator. We've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you no sense of decency? It is not shame, but this decency was the quote. So I say, shame on you for altering history to your needs. Let us get to the curb and hold an open forum within the next 2 weeks. Question and answers. If the board doesn't have the answer, they'll get the answer to the public in 72 hours. Let's put all the cards on the table. Mr. Barney has asked that people stand up and say things directly to the board. We'll let the board give them the opportunity, and not 3 minutes and no answers can be given. I have signed my name to everything that I have written.
Hello, Lisa Tree Perry, 12 Woodford Road. First I want to address SBAC and Common Core. I go back to the Connecticut General Assembly, Chapter 170, duties of the Board of Education. In terms of curriculum, the local boards of education are responsible for reviewing and approving curriculum. We don't have a curriculum, so how can you adopt standards to align to a curriculum that we don't have? So I would think that would mean we can't use Common Core. And that's probably why, when you look at it in the school itself, why it's not successful. Because the teachers are doing whatever they want when it comes to trying to adapt it to their own curriculum style. So then you can look at SBAC, because if the standards technically can't be adopted, then we can't technically have an assessment that goes along with it. And whether or not the U.S. Department of Education, who technically they have not approved the assessment yet, the state of Connecticut, whether they said behind your ears in letters, they're backing out now. And the bottom line is that we have a constitutional right as parents to say, no, I don't want my child to be guinea pig. And I'll stand by that any day, because the test is just a measurement of the test. And if it's going to say that it's going to put my child back 2 grades, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem. Why is my child 2 grades behind? Then the education system failed me. Failure to teach, in my eyes. So I look at the Common Core standards. It's not necessarily that it's a bad thing. It's just misguided, misdirected, and not well thought out at this point. So I do, hope you reconsider, because by the time we do have a curriculum in place, my child will be a senior. I can't even guarantee I'm going to stay here after the behavior that I've seen. disgusting. That last week was, I think that was as low as anybody could get. You have a sign on the wall, bullying is against the law. That was bullying in its most self-righteous form I have ever seen. So I would say that you probably should really start to reconsider if you're going to think about aligning Common Core standards to a curriculum that we don't even have. By the time it's in place, 2016, we're probably out of date at that point, and then we'll start all over again. I mean, maybe just back to basics to start. Keep it simple, and then build on it from there. It's, probably the best way to go. Instead of putting experimental, questionable curriculum in place. And then the second thing is, I noticed I was on the agenda for my resignation. So I would like to put on record, yes, I did resign. And I resigned specifically for the treatment that I have received since I started working here in August up until last week. I do not want to be affiliated with the East Haddam School District. I'm a professional. I take my job very seriously. I put 150% working with those children. And I don't even think any of you really knew where I worked, what classroom, who I worked with, or what I even did. So I just want to put that on record because I was really surprised to see my name in an agenda when from 2010 up until recently, not any other teacher, educator was ever mentioned by name in an agenda. So I think you have some questions to ask. Thank you.
Second session to the early retirement of the
And so moved.
Second. All those in
Yeah. Nice job. Wow. Good job. Good job. Good job, ladies.
How come you get
Because she's not here, why address somebody that's not sitting here? You can't attack them for her attacking.
next time?
The coward's not here. I wanted to give this.